so hard for people to quit their job. If you left today, your company would move on without you. We are heading into a new decade, a new season for you to evaluate your career and take the steps needed to advance strategically. And it all starts with determining whether you should quit your job. This is one episode of a 10-part series called Should I Quit My Job that will take you through evaluating yourself, managing external impacts on your career, evaluating your current reality, and creating a plan to move forward. My name is Julia, and I am the career strategist behind the Ride the Tide Collective podcast, where we equip ambitious professionals to strategize and take action to advance their career. Welcome to episode 3 in the Should I Quit My Job series, What Drives You? This is one of my favorite topics because it's the foundation for every decision you will make. You have to know what drives you and what is at the core of who you are and what you want in life. What drives you are your values, and your values can change depending on your season of life or if any major shifts have happened in your life. This could be going to school, getting married, dating someone new, starting a family, getting a dog, a death in the family, a job change, among others. I always recommend to review your values anytime a big change or event happens, or when you're starting to feel off, unhappy, or unsettled in your work. If you meet me in person, I have a set of values cards that I use to determine your list. But since you're listening to me, I'm going to talk through a few of the top values I have seen people choose, and I'm going to offer a values worksheet for free that you can use to map out your top values. First, let's talk about what currently frustrates you in life and work. After you listen to this episode, I want you to keep a list of things that annoy you throughout your day. Why? Well, usually the things that annoy us go against our value system in some way. One frustration that I hear from a lot of people is that they hate their commute. Makes sense, most people don't like to commute, but I want to know why. Do you want to spend more time with your family? Do you have an activity you want to get to after work? Your motivation will be tied to a value that we need to uncover. In this example, you might value flexibility in your work schedule, the ability to work from home, time with your family, and/or time for leisure. My husband used to commute to downtown LA, which was an hour in the morning and 1.5 to 2.5 hours coming home based on our location. When he took the position, the distance wasn't an issue because I worked a lot too. But then we had our son, and things changed. He wanted to be home more and have more energy for his son. His values shifted after a major life event. When I worked a full-time job, no matter what type of job it was, after about 6 months to a year, I used to get really bored. By that point, I had mastered the position, or so I thought, and I could pick up new skills easily. I felt like I wasn't being challenged. I soon learned that 2 of my values are being intellectually challenged and continuously learning. I had been in roles that didn't allow for growth or learning, and I was bored. One of the reasons that I love working in career development and strategy is because there is always more to learn about the world of work, and it's always changing. What are some frustrations you have in your position, or maybe your industry? Is there a value you have that those frustrations might be poking at? All right, let's talk about valuing money. This is always a touchy value, regardless of the type of client I meet with. My clients who are more spiritual don't want to admit they value money because they don't want to be judged. Funny enough, my less spiritual clients feel the same way. There is a stigma around the value of money that if you value it, it somehow makes you less than. But this is not true, not even a little bit. I had a client once who grew up in less than ideal circumstances. His family struggled with money to the point that food on the table would become an issue at least a few times a month. When I met with him, he didn't choose making money as a value, but his language when he described his other values highly suggested it. When I asked him if he valued money, he hesitated. He told me he didn't want to seem greedy or ungrateful and didn't want to be judged for wanting to make a decent living. He wanted to be able to provide for a wife and a family when the time came, and he wanted to be able to give back to his community. To this day, he is one of the most genuine clients I've had the pleasure of working with. Obviously, he has pure intentions with his money and wanted to provide and help others. His situation growing up motivated him to have more. There is nothing wrong with this thinking. Please hear me when I say you can value money and still be a good person, a good Christian, a good fill in the blank. What matters is your intention. I had another client express his frustrations because his office climate had changed. At one point, colleagues would go to lunch together, celebrate life events, holidays, and even small and big wins within the office. But when the management changed, the culture and the climate for fun and celebration also changed. For my client, he values relationships with coworkers and having a fun work environment. Because of the change, he became unhappy with his job. The consequence of this was that his creativity suffered. He went to work, he did the job, he did what was asked, but he lacked enthusiasm to do more. He realized there was a values clash and decided to move on from the position and the company. In his new role, he's thriving and happy because he was able to articulate the type of work environment he needed to be in to be successful. The values aligned. I want to give one last example of understanding your values. I see a lot of coaches and personal and professional development speakers and leaders put down the 9-to-5 job. Because of this, people think they need to have a side hustle or quit their 9-to-5 to be happy. This is not true. Honestly, it all depends on your values. If you value stability, a 9-to-5 provides that for you. I've spoken with people who leave their corporate job to work remotely on their own business, and they hate it. They hate it because not only is it not a stable income, especially in the beginning, but they have to learn how to manage their time different and usually end up working more hours than when they had their 9-to-5. Owning and starting your own business is not for the faint of heart. If this is something you are considering, awesome. I support you. Make sure you understand whether it aligns with your values before you take the leap into entrepreneurship. Again, I want you to understand the level of importance that your values play in your life and career. This is the foundation for everything. When I ask you why, chances are your why is connected to your values. So once you can identify these and once you understand the season of life you're in and how these values identify and connect with that season, the easier it will be for you to make decisions and to say yes and to say no to all sorts of things in your life. So I'm excited for you to go through this process. This is the one process that if you don't take any other action from this series, this is the one that I believe is fundamental to being able to level up and take your career to the next level, whether that is leveling up within your company or moving out and quitting your job and doing something new. You will find a link to the free values assessment in the show notes, along with some other resources that you might find helpful to help you articulate your values. If you are looking to dig deeper or you have questions, please join our Facebook group, Ride the Tide Collective, which will also be linked in the show notes, or you can send me a DM on Instagram.